Hi, Roy here, popping in to finish off my first week of reading for Garbaugust. So Garbaugust is a month of celebrating the enjoyability of undemanding fiction, as it were, trashy books created by criminally, and it's an annual event. This is the fourth one, and there are co-hosts. I'm one of them. The list is down below, and yeah, so there are prompts and as well, so weekly prompts. So this is an anything goes week, anything. And also there is a bingo card too, which although I don't imagine I'll complete it all, except by some sort of sophistry of arguing that books meet multiple squares, it's fun to look at, and basically you can take the bingo card. There's a lot of prompts for the kind of things that might fall into this world of the great, if trashy, book. So I first of all read Rivals by Jilly Cooper. So this was the one of the group reads. There are two group reads, and also this would definitely hit the Bonkbuster Garbingo card square because it's full of sex. Famously so. I wasn't going to read this at all. I started early so I could get through its 700 pages, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected, and I can definitely see why people really like it. I really like her and her books. I doubt I would read another one, but yeah, I don't feel I wasted my time with it. No spoilers because it's early yet. Lots of people are reading it for the group read. But I mean, what I would say that's not a spoiler really is the plot that isn't the relationships plot, the sort of background that she always has in her book. So the previous one, Riders, it was show jumping, and then I'm guessing Polo has Polo as the background, and so on. In this, it's something a bit different. It isn't sport, and it's the world of commercial television in Britain in the 80s, when there was a sort of capitalistic rush for getting franchises. Okay, so consortia would have to bid to run regional telly, and then it would be a money spinner for the participants because they'd get the money from advertising. How times have changed. So that's interesting, and I think I'd quite happily read a non-fiction book about that, you know, because it's just a sort of, it was very much of its time, and we all sort of saw the other side of it because you just see what's on the telly and new programs appearing and stuff like that. So that creates a setting for the various sort of wealthy, competitive individuals to be trying to achieve things, competing with each other and stuff like that. There are baddies, there are much more sympathetic characters. There's the bonking, which is, I mean, it's not a work of pornography. She doesn't dwell on the mechanics of things, but I'd have to say the last time I read the word bush so frequently, it was in a book set in Australia. But, you know, a lot of it's more funny than anything else, and you do get to like the characters and root for some of them. I'd put it in a great tradition of English bawdiness. Seaside postcards, Beryl Cook paintings, which are mentioned. You know, right back to Chaucer. I could imagine Chaucer writing this, you know, as well as like the Knight's Tale and the Nun's Priest's Tale. You could have the TV executive's tale and the cabinet minister's tale. Perhaps that's to exalt it too highly, but it's fine. Yes, so I did enjoy that. That's good. Rivals by Jilly Cooper. And I tend to have at least 2 books on the go because I usually read something else on Kindle, particularly like in the night. So that's when I read The Angel of Terror by Edgar Wallace. So this was for a Garbingo square where the author is smoking or drinking on the cover. And I've got a sort of a Kindle book with like the complete works of Edgar Wallace, where he's smoking on the cover with his, cover, first screen with his 10-inch long cigarette holder. I've also got a copy of it in paperback, which is rather lovely. Not the best cover I've seen. I think that would go to the Hodder and Stoughton Yellowback edition back in the day that looks just fabulous. But anyway, I read this and that was great. I mean, Edgar Wallace, a early 20th century thriller writer, very productive, widely read, huge seller at the time. Well known for his association with King Kong, where he may or may not have contributed the treatment or novelisation or something. It's all very complicated, but that's very atypical because mostly he's writing sort of crime thrillers, and this is good. It's got a setup that hooks you in from the first sort of chapter or two. So there's a woman who is obviously one of the good people. Her dad has died and left a load of debts, which she wouldn't technically have to settle, but she's decided to for the honour of the thing, so she lives quite precariously. And she's made this bizarre offer to be given a lump sum and a sort of ongoing salary, in effect, ongoing amount of money, which would solve all her problems. All she has to do is marry this fellow who is actually in prison for life. So there won't be any beastliness because he'll be in prison. Which she sort of is like, well, okay. So the whole business of this is that the guy's been sentenced to life in prison. He's wrongly convicted of murdering somebody. His mate, who's a lawyer, he knows he didn't do it. That's one thing. Also, there's some bizarre will, and this is where it gets a little bit, that wouldn't really happen. It's one of these wills where unless he marries before he's 30, the money all goes to these other people who are the baddies, right? Including the Angel of Terror herself, a beautiful young woman who is incredibly malign, and her dad, who does a lot of the work like murdering people. So the idea is he's to spirit him out of jail for one night and get the marriage ceremony done, and then that everything, at least he can rest easy that his money doesn't go to the basically to the murderers. That happens, but then the prison guy, he's murdered as well. So, and it leads on to this situation where this young woman, has gone from being poor to married to actually inheriting everything from this guy, beyond riches, beyond what she would have got for just doing the job now that he's actually died. Meanwhile, the murderous couple, obviously now they want to kill her, so because unless she makes another will, which she doesn't want to do, they'll still get the money. Again, anyway, that's the story. Plus, she doesn't believe any of this. She actually likes the Angel of Terror lady. Becomes her friend, and they go abroad together and stuff. So there's a situation where, how will she be protected from this? Lawyer man puts a sort of Kipling-esque former soldier, very shabby. He sort of limps and he's got one of this and one of that, to be her unlikely guardian. So, okay, I think we can see where that's going as well. But there's all sorts of jeopardy and threats, and it's really funny and bowls along, and a great Edgar Wallace. The ultimate read on a train book, I think. So that was great. From that I turn to Zoo. James Patterson. Michael Ledwidge. Zoo. Ooh. So this is the other group read book, which again, I won't say a lot of the story because people are reading it. I don't think any of us imagined this would be any good. And again, I'd sort of say, well, it was a bit better than I expected. At least the second half was. In the first half, I was like hating the first person narrator so much well, so it's not about a zoo. It's about a sort of apocalyptic situation where lots and lots of mammals go crazy and they're like intent on destroying human beings. So think of all those lions and tigers and bears, oh my, not to mention rats and even dolphins. If they see a human, they're going to take them down, like absolutely focused on doing that. And there's lots of animals. Our hero is a scientist who's been predicting this for ages and is sort of shunned by the science establishment because until it all comes true, and then he's like gets more involved. So that's what it's all about, and hits a couple of other bingo squares because it's killer animals, definitely, and it's something else as well. You could call it modern trash, I suppose. It's not that old. Yeah, like I say, so it's sort of a combination of eco-thriller, killer animal horror book, James Patterson style, kind of breeze through it quickly, turn the pages, sort of every 10 seconds kind of thing. It got better. In fact, I might even read the sequel. We'll see. It appeals to me that in the name of trashiness, the sequel's got a different collaborator. Apparently it's been a TV series as well, so who knows. So, yeah, done that. I've done both the group reads, which is good. By the way, yes, if you're interested in this group read malarkey, if you're on Discord, Criminolly's Discord, there are channels for the book, so people sharing their thoughts on there. Then I moved to the Celebrity Bio Square with On the Other Hand by Fay Wray. Fay Wray, whose most famous role is opposite King Kong in that movie. She was in like more than 70 movies. But, most of those just slip by the radar, really. She's just in one absolutely legendary thing, and lots of other things, as well as some radio and some TV. And she wrote an autobiography late in her life. It's really good. I mean, it's not at all trashy, I would say. I mean, it's got the easy reading, undemandingness of a lot of memoirs, in that, you don't need a plot because you know that they're moving through their life, and you probably know a bit about all the people as well. Very much rags to riches, how they start off as a family and how she ends up in Hollywood. And she has marriages. I mean, the first marriage she has, the guy sounds like the worst man in the world, really, but she seems devoted to him, faults and all. And I found it pretty compelling. There's a little bit of this in the sort of final third. There's a bit too much kind of, well, we went to this party with these people and we went to this event with these people kind of stuff, which I suppose is sort of interesting if those people are, you want to see little bits of insight into some of the people she knew. Because being sort of like not continuing at a level of fame, I suppose, gives her that kind of, yes, she's in Hollywood, she's part of it, but also she can live, she has her life as well. Her life has a sort of a bit of a normality to it, I suppose. So she's a little bit outside the sort of stratospheric level of stardom. I think my favourite bit was Cary Grant explaining why he didn't think he'd be a good husband. I wouldn't have been a good husband. I pay too much attention to the position of a sofa. That sort of thing. Well, I guess he's probably right. So, that's what I've finished so far. I'm in the middle of a Lisa Kleypas novel. Kleypas, which I didn't think I was going to like, but I'm really, really into that now. So it's the first of a series called The Wallflowers. It's a Regency romance series. I think young adults, possibly, but certainly pretty light and kind of all the tropes, having fun with it, sort of people speaking rather modern language, sort of thing. And this one's called, it's called something. It's got a summer night in the title, but I'll say more about that when I do another one of these. So there's still a bit more of the Anything Goes week to read. Next week it's the shock value stuff, the violence, the sex. So I've got some ideas for that, and also some things I might change from my TBR. So we'll see where we end up. So good times. Garbaugust, hope you're joining in. You don't have to go reading dozens of things, really. You know, pick up a trashy book and just enjoy it, and let it soothe the savage breast for a while. That's my plan. Okay, back soon with something else.